I love Esther. She risks her life. And you know the cool thing is, she risked her life to come before the king. Jesus gave his life for you and I so we could come before our God. Not in fear, but 24/7. Have you ever really, I'm sure you have, but let me remind you again. You know that the God of David, King David, and the God of Samuel, and the God of Noah, the God of Jacob, and the God of Joseph, and the God of Mordecai, and the God of Esther is the same God that we pray to. You know, the God who created the universe, you think about this in prayer. When you come to prayer, because of what Jesus did for you and I, we have the audience of the creator of the universe. That's pretty staggering. Sometimes it kind of makes the knees buckle a little bit. Is that not the reality? And sometimes we forget, don't we? I do sometimes. I forget how powerful God is because I'm so busy looking at the problem. And it's right here in my face, and I need to put it down and look at my great God, who's undefeated in the scriptures. And that Jesus, his sacrifice, has made a way for us to come to him. Think about this. Let me read this from J.B. Phillips' translation of Hebrews chapter 4, verses 14 through 16. We know it, but I pray you to hear it afresh. Seeing that we have a great high priest, speaking of Jesus, who has passed through the heavens, Jesus, the Son of God. Let us hold firmly our faith, for ours is no high priest who cannot sympathize with our weaknesses. He himself has shared fully in all our experience of temptation, except that he never sinned. Let us therefore approach the throne of grace with fullest confidence that we may receive mercy for our failures and grace to help in our time of need. That is awesome. Have you failed? You say, Tom, I have failed not once. I have failed not once either. I have failed many times. But what is so great about this truth is that even in my failure, and even in your failure, in our failure, God says, come and get what? Mercy. That when I fail, God bids me to come to him that he can give me what I don't deserve. Think about that. We make a lot of mistakes, and especially when you're trying to do something, when you're trying to go forward. Have you ever noticed that? And here, I love it, don't you? God says, come. You failed? Let's talk about it. Let me give you mercy. Let me give you what you don't deserve. And then I like what he says, now in your time of need. Oh, now we're not talking about just failure. Now we're talking about when you're like teetering. You know, when you're like, oh man, I just, last night at around 10 o'clock, I just rolled over on the side of my bed and I just went, God, I flat out need you. Just that sense of need, God, to do what you've called me to do. It's so above and beyond me. And what God's called you to do and to be is so above and beyond your natural strength. It should cause your knees to buckle sometimes. And God says, listen, in that time of need, come to me. Let me give you grace. Let me do you a favor. Isn't that cool? God, through Jesus Christ, looks at you and I, and he's always in the mood to do you a favor with no strings attached.